Okay, so once Dender was following the target and touching the target regularly, we got that behaviour in place. It was simple enough to use that target then to lead Dender round into the crush area where we wanted him to work. So very, very simple from then on. He just simply followed the target round into the crush and just habituated him to being in there, being comfortable in that area.
So I just targeted him at this area and gave him a reward. Come down there. Come here, darling. As soon as he came in here, he just laid down straight away anyway. So that was the natural thing for him to do. I gave him a reward, and then I brought him back. Good boy, Dender. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. See, he's quite happy being in here. Come back, Dender. Where's your tail then? And then once he was happy coming in and out of the crush cage, I was able to actually shut him in. So he's shut in here now, it's locked both sides, and he's still quite happy being in here.
Well, at this point we hit a bit of a problem, because what we found was that Dender, being a leopard, was a bit like a coiled string of jack in a box, if you like. Whilst he would follow the target into the crush area, he didn't stick around for long. He was in and out. Even when we closed the gate on the crush, so he couldn't physically leave, he was still turning around, he was backwards and forwards, he wouldn't keep still. So at this point we introduced a wait command. Now basically, all Vicky did was put the food in a gloved hand, clench it into a fist, held it in front of Dender, let him have a sniff, and then clicked and presented the food. The next time she held the food a little bit longer before clicking and giving the food. She very gradually increased the time Dender spent at the fist there before offering the reward, and that taught Dender to wait, stay in one position and focus on Vicky. So it worked very well, keeping Dender in the right place for the right amount of time and keeping him focused instead of just moving about and getting very distracted by his own actions. Well, once we had Dender in the crush and waiting there quite nicely, what we did find was that he was still a little bit distant. There's quite a big area inside there, and for what we wanted to do next, he was a little bit far back. Now, not every facility has got a crush cage like this, but we have, so we thought we might as well use it. But rather than actually trying to move the crush with Dender in there, we locked him out, we pulled it in a bit, and then we let Dender come in. Vicky brought him in with the target there, and he got a reward. And then she took him back out again. Then again we simply pulled the crutch in a little bit further and brought Dender back in, let him get used to it, and then take him back out again. Now the next problem we found was that when Dender did actually move in there, it would hit his backside on the mesh there, and he would actually push the crush backwards, like that. So we had to find some way of locking that crush, and very simple design, couple of bits of wood, groove in the top there, and they just simply slot in there like that. And then once they're in position, the crush can't close. So we bring Dender back in there. and that was a working position that we decided to go with. Now bear in mind here that Dender is not actually crushed in that position. He's still got room to walk in, back out of there. He's not physically restrained, so he is still relaxing there. He's made the decision to come in. We haven't brought him in first then pulled that crush up on him to squash him down. There's no physical restraint. It's just simply made a smaller working area, which is a bit more convenient for us.
Now we're happy we've got Dender in the position that we want him in, we needed to introduce a second person to the equation who would be acting as a vet, because eventually when we listen to his heart it will be myself and John Lewis who will be listening to Dender's heart. So what we needed to do was introduce somebody else who will be working quite closely to Dender. So we introduced Jez as the vet. So we've got an overall that Jez wears, and it's his vet costume. We've also got a stethoscope which Dender will get used to seeing, and eventually he'll be feeling it on his body as well. Okay, when we initially introduced Jez, he didn't stand as close as he is now. He kind of stood about a metre away, and then just got closer and closer as Dender became more confident with him. He did hiss at Jez as soon as he saw him, because he'd never seen him before. But it wasn't too long before he actually got used to Jez and was happy working with Jez, and now Jez can get really close to Dender and he's quite happy with that. It just took a while to desensitise him to that extra person, but it is very important in the training.
Well, another problem we faced was that when Dender did come into the crush, quite often he'd just lie down or sit down. But of course, to listen to his heart, we needed Dender in a standing position. So somehow we had to actually teach Dender to stand up inside the crush. He did seem quite reluctant to do it to start with. So we used a second target, just a bamboo cane with a bit of tape on the end. And the plan was to actually just reach through the mesh, tap him on the back, give a little click, give him his reward. And we did that for a few times. Then eventually hold the cane just slightly above his bum. When he comes up, touches it, click, reward, and eventually we'll bring his backside up. Initially I tried to use the target, and he got a little bit agitated. He didn't like the fact that I was someone new and had come along with sticks. I was sticking them through and poking him on the bum. But we found that when Vicky did it, he was a lot more amenable to it. Now initially it took a little while for him to catch on. As much by accident as anything else, he stood up to back out of the crush area, accidentally touched the cane, click, reward, and then he started to catch it from that. Once he got the hang of it though, he knew exactly what was being asked of him. He was standing up every time he saw the cane. Even before the cane was presented through the bars, he would stand up to meet it. At that point, Vicky put in a cue, said come up, and within a matter of days, Dender was standing up every time she gave that cue.